What's up, social media? So I want to try something out, try something different, and see how this will work. All right. Happy Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday. Of course, I'm gonna leave some principles right with you about this little test that I'm trying out. I want to see how it works, if it works. But here we go. Just some principles, some things I've taught my mentees or taught, the importance. We're getting ready for 2022, right? Getting ready for it. And my husband is getting ready to do a Structure Your Business for Success class. I'm so excited about it. Shameless plug. Cannot wait till he do it. But here's the deal. I realized before we even started our business, before we started, Harden Enterprise, Tanya Harden Ministries, even before we started New Destiny, I had to take a pause for the cause. And what is the pause for the cause? Pause to build. Build yourself. Build yourself. That's going to be the title of this. If you record, I pray you do. That's going to be the title of this. Building yourself. The importance of building yourself, because how can you build others if you do not build yourself first? If you do not make sure that you build yourself first. I remember in 2019, before we even start talking about, starting business, and I remember being overwhelmed because I'm a pastor. If you don't know me, my name is Pastor Tanya Harden, aka Pastor T of the New Destiny Fellowship Church, where I just kind of tell you and remind you to see yourself through God's eyes and not people, because you are a product of God's grace and God's mercy. I just share little tips here and there just to kind of encourage you, empower you, all that great stuff. On my YouTube page, make sure you like and share. Every week, I'm always sharing something. So here we go. Just kind of talking about, building yourself, being able to build yourself. There's a time and a point in your life, well, you do have to become selfish, especially if you're pouring out to everybody else and you're giving your wisdom, you're giving your time, you're giving your knowledge, you're giving whatever you're giving, and you're giving this to people. And it is a time that you got to take a moment to pause for yourself and build yourself. So how do you build yourself? And this is something that I learned in 2019. I told you I was about to I'm not going to say lose my mind, but I was just overwhelmed and I needed to take a break. And I spoke to some amazing women. I kind of shared that before, but I invested in myself with a mentor and also some other mentors that I have in my life, just kind of, to become a better me. Best thing I've ever done in my life, best decision I've ever made in my life is to take out. And I remember starting New Destiny. My husband and I just kind of took a break and just took some time to go and glean and learn from other people before we started pastoring. And I just believe it's the same way in business. Before you start doing business, you got to realize, what all am I going to do, and just kind of learn and glean from other people. With that said, I want to talk about building yourself, man. Build yourself. And how do you get to a point where you build yourself? You got to become committed to you first before you can be committed to anybody else, before you can even be committed, before you show up to this event on December the 4th with my honey, Camille. December 4th, Structuring Your Business for Success. On December the 4th, you got to learn that I got to build me first before I start tapping into building other people. Come here, Nehemiah. Nehemiah realized that once I'm the cupbearer and I'm who I'm called to be, now it's time for me to go out and I can build a city, build the walls, build other people. But I need people in order to do that. Oh, we're going to talk. Let's go. Here we go. Building yourself. And again, in order to build yourself, you got to be committed. I hope you're at work, take a pen, piece of paper, or just write it on a canvas of your mind. Build yourself. Number one, you got to build your gratitude. Come here, build your gratitude. How do you build your gratitude? You got to be willing to say, you know what? I got to take a pause and say, you know what? I'm not where I want to be. You're not where you used to be. But you're working on where you're going to be. Forget that. Build my gratitude on, Lord, I thank you where I am right now. I appreciate it. And I'm going to take my wins right now in this moment. Take my wins right now in this very moment. I don't know how many times I sit with my husband and the things we went through from 2018 to 2020. I'll never forget it. Just the craziest moment of our life, because we made a decision to live like no one else so that we can live like no one else, because I realized that, man, I want to do something different. I don't want to live the same way. I just want something different. And because you want something different, you go through some things, but you got to pause for a moment and say, Lord, I thank you. I had to pause and say, Lord, I thank you. I thank you that I got my car. We got house. We got a roof over our head. We got, businesses. We doing just take a moment to pause. Lord, I got my job. Lord, I'm married. I haven't left this joker yet. I'm married. Lord, I'm still here, and I'm not in a crazy house somewhere. You got to take a moment and have gratitude. Build your gratitude. Every morning you wake up, you got to build your gratitude. Lord, I thank you for another day. I believe that today is going to be the best day I've ever had before. Steve Harvey said it best. He had someone call him all the time. Every morning he called him excited. Man, I'm ready. Hey, you ready, Steve? Get up. Let's go. It's a book I read called Jump. Great book, by the way. He said the man kept calling. Get up, Steve. Let's go. And he said every time he called, like, man, why you calling me so early? What are you doing? And so Steve decided, and the man finally said, why are you not excited that you breathing, man? You're here today. I come to tell you, why you not excited that you're up and you're watching or listening to this video today? Why you can't be excited? Just have a gratitude, a heart of gratitude. So Steve Harvey said the next time the man called, he said, look, he called, he was like, hey man, how you doing? So great. Changed his whole attitude. He started believing in that day, started just changing his mind about that day. We got to be willing to build our gratitude daily. If I'm going to build myself daily, I got to remind myself, I don't care how crazy the day going to be, Lord. Today, I'm speaking right now. I'm doing this video in the morning after I just had a meeting with a client. Man, Lord, I thank you that a client is about to sign a contract with me. Come here. I thank you, Lord, because you didn't have to do it, but you did. But I'm going to believe you that another client or another person or whoever is going to be able to do what they need to do so that we can be able to grow together and go to the next level so I can help them birth out these books. Whatever, you start speaking over your day. You start building your gratitude about, because you ain't have to send, this person didn't have to call me, they didn't have to come in contact with that person, but because they did, Lord, I say thank you. I thank you that you gave me that door. A heart of thanksgiving. Come on, in the Thanksgiving month, come on, a heart of thanksgiving. Number 2, build your character. How do you build your character? You got to be willing to know that your reputation is everything. Even if people mess up your character is still what's going to stand. I don't know how many people I've heard, where their character was dragged through the mud and people dogged them out and they just treated them like they were nothing. And all of a sudden they come back and it's like, man, you know what? But y'all really not like that though. I've had people do it to us. Y'all really not like that though. You gotta be willing to know that your character is everything. You gotta be willing. What is your character? Is what you do in secret when nobody's watching. Come here. Your character is what you do in secret when nobody's watching. It's just you and the Lord. Are you stealing? Are you taking people money? Are you lying? Are you cheating? What are you doing when nobody's watching? It's your character. You got to build your character. So God, make sure that my character lines up with what you want it to be today. Don't let me get out of character. Don't let me, do anything that's going to embarrass you or embarrass where we're going. I got to make sure that every decision that I make is the right decision. And no matter what it makes me feel like, that I'm doing the right thing. Making the decision to do what is right, no matter what the cost is. Let me say that again. Making the decision to do what is right, no matter what the cost is. The next thing, number 3, build your work ethic. You got to be willing to build your work ethic. Be willing to, for me, come here. Don't eat the bag of chips, Tanya. Come here. You got to build your work ethic on what you do. You got to build your work ethic. You got to be willing to do, I'm learning, even doing, when I work for companies, doing things with them, I had to be able to build my work ethic and make sure that I showed up to work. You show up to work and you show up to work and not just sit on these people's clock. But you show up to work if you're going to build your work ethic and what you eat, how you eat. You got to be willing to build your work ethic. Not a great conversation for me. I always talk about what I've been through. I'm working on building my workout ethic. Am I saying that right? My workout ethic. I'm building that part of me. Finishing what you started, when it comes down to your work ethic. You got to be willing to finish what you started. That's why I say you got to be willing to be committed to building you. How do you become committed to building you? You got to finish what you started. I'm writing a book right now. It's been taking me forever to write this book because of all of the feelings and all of the things that's going on. I got to be willing. I know I have a deadline next year. Got to be willing to finish. When you finish what you talking about a win. When you complete something that you've been working on and you completed it, oh my God, the best win ever. So you got to be willing to build your work ethic. Number 4, be willing to build your curiosity. I got 6, I'm almost done. Be willing to build your curiosity. You got to be willing to learn. I heard T.D. Jakes, and I posted it on my page. T.D. Jakes made a statement. He said, every student, when you stop being a student or you cease being a student, you're no longer growing, but you're dying. You got to be willing to be able to be teachable so that you can be able to learn, build our curiosity of learning again, even when you don't want to. My husband says this all the time, man. I don't care who in the room, who you're in the room with, be quiet enough so that you could be able to learn from people. Even if you already know, don't even let them know that you know. You just sit there and you be willing to learn, because if you sit up there and you tell them, I know that, now you miss an opportunity of being able to learn from that person. So be in the room, be quiet so you can learn from other people. Take the meat, spit out the bone. Be willing to learn everything. You can learn from anybody, however, whenever. You can learn from people all the time. Also, building your curiosity to be around people that you never met before, man. Be in rooms you never been in before, even if you're uncomfortable. Be in the room, because you never know that room may be a room that would be able to catapult you into a level that you never been. I was in a room with some women that I never met before, but got in that room and I learned some things that I never learned before because I was in a room that I never been before. There's some places that God wants to take you, places that you've never been, things you've never seen before that He wants to do with you, but you got to be willing to build your curiosity. Google is my best friend. You understand me? Researching is my best friend. You got to be able to build your curiosity. If you're going to be able to build you got to be committed to building your curiosity. I told one of my sons in ministry, I said, listen, he said, he, asking some questions or whatever about business. And I told him, I said, you're curious. It's the spirit of curiosity that gets us to the place of our calling, man. Our curiosity gets us where we're supposed to be, because everything, come here, your destiny is connected to your daily routine and anything you do daily. I'm teaching a class right now on writing a book. And I told the women that are writing this book with me, I said, listen, your curiosity, God, you got to be curious. You got to be nosy, spiritually nosy, so that you can go deeper and go research and go into Google so that you can find out who you're talking to, what type of audience are you talking to in order to spin this around. I'm telling you, I've been there to where I didn't want to learn. I didn't like to do anything new. I didn't like to do anything that was going to change. I just liked the regular, everyday, didn't like change that much. Had to learn in the pandemic, do something different. You got to be able to change your posture. You got to be able to change. You got to be able to pivot. I had to learn that during the pandemic. So I just got it. So I'm still learning. But as I learned how to pivot, I learned different things while I was pivoting about marketing, about, going live, about doing stuff like this that I've never done before, hoping that it worked, right? Curiosity. I just want to see if it worked. Curiosity. Right? I want to see if it works. So you got to be able to build your curiosity. Number 5, you got to be willing to build your faith. Come here. Let's talk about it. Got to be willing to build your faith. When we build our faith, I'm jumping in there with you. When we learn to build our faith, we get to a point of, how do I say that? When we learn to build our faith, it's going to places that don't even make sense. What do I mean by that? That God, even when I don't understand it, I'm going to trust you. But I'm going to trust you enough to step out on faith and do it. If we wouldn't have never stepped out on faith on some things, it wouldn't have never happened. But you got to be willing to step out on faith. How do I step out on faith? Is that, God, even when I don't understand it, I trust you, though. I'm going to be obedient to what you said do. Man, I'm going to be obedient to what you did. And here's the thing. My husband and I in 2019, and I shared this on one of my videos, but I'll share it again, how we decided, we're gonna downsize. We're gonna move into an apartment. We're pastors of a church. We're going to move into an apartment, but we want to think about building or moving into another home. We didn't know what we were going to live. We had no idea, but we made this decision, sat down with the girls, made a decision that we're going to move. And so when we moved into an apartment. Oh my God, that was so, we had to humble ourselves, but we just felt like, God, we're going to trust you in making this decision that either we're going to build or we're going to buy another house. But we want to make sure that we buy a house that we're no longer renting. And so we wanted to buy, we want to own, we want ownership. We wanted ownership. And so doing so, we were like, wait a minute, how we're going to go about doing this, making that decision, downsizing, realizing that a lot of chatter was going to be happening. A lot of people were not going to understand. It don't make no sense, right? But we knew the plan and we trusted God. We stepped out on faith. And because of that, stepping out on faith, we were able to build our dream home that we wanted to build. So we were able to do that because we stepped out on faith. So you got to be able to build your faith. So now we did that. So guess what? Dina was like, okay, now let's try business, right? We doing something you never done before. Let's try business. And it's working. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, okay, let's try this. Okay, now it's working. Okay, Lord, now we're going to try. We're going to step out on faith. We're going to believe you. But only God. And there's some things I step out on faith on, and it had nothing to do with God. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, that was the wrong thing. Let me try something else. That's not going to work. In other words, don't have a problem with failing forward. There are times that you're going to fail forward. It's not going to work. And it's okay. You found out it didn't work. Okay, cool, no problem. But I promise you that God is going to use that thing that didn't work in a whole nother manner to where it's going to work out all for his glory and for his good. It's just having enough faith to just try it. Because I just believe, and with my life, I've seen God where I tried it and then it was like, it didn't work. And God said, okay, now try it again, but do it this way. And it's like, okay, Lord, I'm going to try it again. And it worked, right? It worked. So I'm like, okay, Lord. So I'm the one that, Lord, let me try. You got to be willing to have enough faith to try it and see what it works like. It's the scariest thing, especially when it's unfamiliar, unknown. You've never been there before. But I want to encourage you, man. Even though you've never been there before, I promise you there's somebody that has been there. And that's why it's great to get in rooms. Number 6, to build your love for people. Number 6, build your love for people. Be able to connect with other people, network with other people, get to know other people that you're not used to being around. Sometimes we stay in the same circle and that circle is just rotating, but it's not growing. You want the circle to rotate to where I'm growing here and then I'm getting in another circle and we're growing here. You got to be willing to just not stay in one place, but be willing to grow other places with other people, like-minded people that are going where you're going, doing what you're doing, and be okay with that. But you got to build your love for people first. You got to love people. You cannot not be lovers of people. You got to love people. What does that mean? I share with my team, my mentees. I said, listen, loving people mean I got to love you and embrace who you are. Even when I don't like you. I don't understand why you do crazy stuff or why you do it that way. It doesn't matter. I'm going to embrace who you are because who you are is who God designed you to be. And that's just who you are. Who I am is who God designed me to be, but that's just who I am. You got to be willing to get in rooms that will make you uncomfortable. Can I tell you, when you move out on faith and you start building you, God will put you in rooms that will make you uncomfortable, but it's all, you need goats around you. Come here. Come on here, Lisa Nichols. I remember being in the room with Lisa Nichols. My church family sent me out because I kept saying, I want to be, my curiosity wanted to see me some Lisa Nichols. Lisa Nichols, if you don't know, she's a life coach. She's a goat. She is a goat when it comes to being a life coach. What is a goat? She's the greatest of all times. She's the greatest of life coaches that you can ever find out there. That's just my opinion. But I wanted to be in a room with her. But being in a room with her, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. Because there was other women in the room that thought like her, that moved like her, that did what she did. It was uncomfortable. But it was the best experience ever. It was uncomfortable, best experience, and I was able to meet some amazing women that were able to get me where I am now. Meet some amazing women that were able to get me where I am now. Not necessarily there in Lisa Nichols' room, but in another room that I went in and I was uncomfortable. But you got to be able to get in rooms and be uncomfortable. When you go and you change is not comfortable. Change is uncomfortable. doing things you've never done before to get the results that you've never seen before. You got to be able to be in rooms you've never been in before. So I encourage you, build you. Build you before you try to build somebody else, before we try to build somebody else. We got to be willing to build us. Take the moment to pause to build you. When you build you, number one, you're becoming committed to building your gratitude, thanking God for every win, thanking God that I got up this morning and I went on my porch and I read a book. Amazing book. I'm gonna share it later, but amazing book that I'm reading right now. And my bishop's book I'm reading. Go big or go home. Oh, that's a whole nother story. So build your character. Build your character. You got to be willing to build your character. Number 3, build your work ethic. Number 4, build your curiosity. Why am I reading books like Go Big or Go Home or Here Comes That Dreamer? Is because I'm dreaming bigger than I've ever dreamed before. So I need to get in the minds and read a book that's going to stretch my mind in this area of me dreaming, right? Build your curiosity. Number 5, build your faith. Number 6, build the love for people. When we learn to do these things and build ourselves, we're able to tap into a whole nother level of life that we've never seen before. But it's understanding that all of my failures, all of my mistakes, and all of my hiccups are so needed for my building moment, because I get a chance to revamp, refresh, restore me, rebuild me, so that I can go and build others. It's hard to build somebody when you need rebuilding. I hear the song "Rebuild Me," I forgot his name, but you got to be willing to rebuild yourself, right? So when you learn to rebuild yourself, take the time out to build yourself, you can build others. I'm telling you, it's so much I can share, but I'm just gonna share that and let that be it. So listen, I just want to test this out. This is still another test. I don't went all that deep. Just another test, just to test my curiosity is getting the best of me. I want to see how this system works. And if it does, I'm going to use it. I want to see how this system works, but I'm going to use it. But until then, remember, you're a product of God's grace and mercy, man. You are a product of God's grace and mercy. When you learn to see yourself through God's eyes and not people, and taking time to have a selfish moment to build yourself, because when you start building others, I promise you ain't selfish. Because you are a person that loves to build others. So build yourself. Take out the time to build you. Invest in someone so that you can be built. Hey, December 4th. Yeah, great investment. Great investment. Great. If you are if you never started a business, if you want to start a business, and are you in a business but you're not all the way legit, you need business credit, you want to find out, man, you don't want to miss this. Dynamic people that's going to be there for that. But yeah, just wanted to do this little test and share some wisdom Wednesday wisdom with you. Until next time, man, stay blessed in all that you do, and continue to know that you are a product of God's grace and mercy. Stay blessed. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share with a friend. Until next time, stay blessed. Bye-bye.